you very much for that introduction. I'm going to use the 30 seconds and not repeat the title. I'll have more of my 12 minutes. Yes, I'm Riley Carpenter, and I co-authored this paper with a master student of mine, Roos. To cover what I'm going to be presenting in this presentation, I'm going to first ground the presentation in the South African context. I'm then going to move on to the background and motivation of the study. Thereafter, discuss the objective and specifically the research questions. Then I'll take a step back and look at the theoretical framework that the study is grounded in, followed by a review of the literature. I'll then discuss the methodology, followed by the results and a conclusion. And then I'll show you a bit of future research that I have already started. So within the South African context, there's been historically limited access to quality education in the country. The accounting profession hasn't been as racially transformed as we would have wanted it to be. And so our professional society, SAICA, the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, one of their main goals is to racially transform the accounting profession. Black students, and yeah, when I say black, it's black as defined by the South African government. Okay, I was on the South African context. So black students are more likely to be academically excluded, have higher dropout rates, and have lower graduation rates. So the background to the study, identifying success factors are important because they help determine the students that require the support, how to implement that support, and when to start providing it. The research shows that the single best predictor of academic performance is prior academic performance. And for the university level, that's the final grade 12 results, being the National Senior Certificate results, and the NBT test, the National Benchmark tests, which are tests that are written after the final year of high school, but before students are accepted into university. The motivation of the study is that there's been limited accounting education research on NSC and NBT results. I sit on one of the placement committees for the university, and so this is very interesting and pertinent to us in the committee. And we also want to use the NSC and NBT results as explanatory variables for future research. So the objective is to establish the relationship between these final high school year marks, which is the NSC results, and the NBT results. So the research questions, there are two of them. The first one being, is there a correlation between the NSC and NBT results? And then if we want to use this for future research, is there multicollinearity between the results? Looking at the theoretical framework that underpins this research, there are numerous factors which influence student success in tertiary education. The Biggs 3P model of student learning describes three sets of factors that affect student performance. First being presage, second process, and lastly product or performance. And this model has been often applied in accounting education. The presage factors are external to the learning environment. The process factors reflect the student's learning approach, and the performance or product factors are either cognitive or affective. Now, while this Biggs model places the greatest emphasis on the learning approach to students, he does acknowledge that the presage factors do affect the development of the learning approach. If we look at academic performance and past research that has been performed both internationally and in South Africa, the factors that affect academic performance are age, gender, race, home language, and grade 12 results. And for the purpose of this study, grade 12 results are the NSC results. The most significant factors being the NSC accounting mark, the NSC mathematics mark, or for my American colleagues, math mark, and overall GPA in high school. The single best predictor of success for the first year of university is academic performance in the NSC. However, as you progress higher through the university, the single best predictor becomes the performance in the prior year. With respect to the national benchmark test, this is written between when the students finish high school, which is in about November of the year, and prior to their acceptance into university, which is in January or February of the following year. The NBT is a diagnostic tool to help enroll the student in the most appropriate qualification. It also identifies that students or all students' needs for additional support. The test measures proficiency in academic literacy, quantitative literacy, and mathematics. Academic literacy is the student's capacity to engage successfully with the demands of academic study. It includes learning, comprehension, application, synthesis of new knowledge. Quantitative literacy is a student's ability to identify and solve problems in quantitative situations, specifically relevant to tertiary education. And then mathematics assesses the student's competence in more complex mathematical topics.
You have 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Past research has broken up the studies on NBTs into 2 parts. Firstly, how do those results contribute to academic performance versus how do those results, specifically when they're poor, result in intervention modules which then affect performance. There's been contrasting evidence on the NBT results as a factor affecting academic performance, and that's across a broad spectrum of disciplines: economics, maths, English, physical sciences, medical students, but not accounting. So therefore, prior academic performance is a good predictor. This includes the grade 12 results. Including NBTs may help to identify preparedness of students. Intervention modules definitely assist students. But these tests, the NSC and the NBTs, focus on current competencies rather than future potential. The research has also been focused on first-year performance only and not studies like time to graduation. And there hasn't been any studies on accounting students in South Africa. So we need to take a look at some exploratory descriptive stats, and that is what this study is doing. In terms of our methodology, after the data cleaning, my sample had 730 students over the years 2013 to 2016. These students were registered for 3- and 4-year undergraduate Bachelor of Commerce degrees at the University of Cape Town. I performed a Pearson's correlation test using the variables that were significant in past research, and which we use at the university for entrance criteria, which is the NSC accounting mark, NSC maths mark, and NSC English mark, as well as the 3 NBT tests, which is academic literacy, quantitative literacy, and mathematics. In terms of the results, there was a moderate positive correlation between all the NSC results. Now, that's in line with expectations, because if students are going to perform well in one subject and they gain access to university, then they normally have performed well in the other subjects too. Similarly, there was a moderate positive correlation between the NBT results, with the exception of NBT maths and quantitative literacy, where the correlation was strong. As both maths and quantitative literacy test numeracy, that result is also not unexpected. What is interesting, though, is that there was only a moderate positive correlation between academic literacy in the NBT and the NSC, or that there was, this moderate positive correlation with NSC English, compared to limited correlation with the other NSC results. As the NBT academic literacy tests academic reading and reasoning abilities, assessing students' capabilities of engaging successfully with higher education language demands, that association is encouraging. Then there was a moderate positive correlation between both the NBT quantitative literacy and NSC maths, and then surprisingly English. It may be that the problem-solving nature of QL is similar to the skills required in English. The lack of significant correlation between both academic literacy and quantitative literacy and accounting stands out. That's because NSC accounting is a strong predictor of academic success and performance at tertiary education level. It may be due to the difference in purposes between the NSC and the NBTs. And then there's a positive correlation between NBT, MAT, and the NSC results. But it was moderate for accounting and English, but strong for mathematics, which makes sense. Towards the second research question. Yeah, towards the second research question, looking at multicollinearity, all the VIF scores were less than 5, and so therefore there is no multicollinearity. And so in conclusion, understanding factors that affect academic success is important. Prior academic performance is related to current academic performance, specifically looking at grade 12 results and what students write prior to entry into university. Prior results include the NSC and NBT results. There were numerous moderate and strong correlations without multicollinearity, which means that we can use these results for future explanatory variables. And then lastly, in terms of future research, I have crunched the numbers, done the stats already. I haven't written the paper yet, but looking at time to graduation, specifically event history analysis coupled with a logistic regression with independent variables of gender, race, age, school quintile, specifically there that's fee-paying schools and non-fee-paying schools, whether the students have financial aid, whether they've been on an intervention module, and then the results that we've spoken about in this study. And the findings indicate significant variables being race, financial aid, the intervention module, NSC accounting, NSC maths, and NBT maths results all contribute to the students graduating on time. Thank you very much.